Hi guys, it's Dr. Tiffany. Happy Friday. We're going to do a really quick vlog today on the topic of the 80-20 rule. So usually the 80-20 rule has been known in business and economics, but today we're taking a twist on the 80-20 rule and using it as it pertains to our relationships with our intimate partners and then of course with family and friends. So we're going to look first at intimate partners. We tend to have the ability to see 80% of what's good in our partner. We usually like 80% of what we're getting ourselves into when we get married or when we decide to engage in a relationship. 20% of it is, it's okay, it's not great, right? But we're still working with it because it's 80%, right? I love 80% this person brings to the table. In a fresh and new relationship, that 80% is very easy to focus on, right? But as a relationship gets older and it develops with time and it isn't so fresh and you're no longer in that honeymoon stage, we start focusing strangely on that 20%, on the things that we feel we want that we may not have. Oftentimes for intimate partner relationships, when we focus too much on that 20%, it leads individuals to go astray in their marriage, in their relationships, however it may be. And so I'm asking you today to focus on that 20% and ask yourself, how much of that 20% that you don't like in your relationship is attributed to yourself? We don't like all things about ourselves. In fact, when we don't like something about ourselves, we may tend to project it onto somebody else. We may make it the fault of our partner that this, that, or the other that we don't like about ourselves is really something they're causing within us. Maybe we're not taking control of the one thing we really truly have control in our lives, and that's our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. So when we don't like something, ask yourself, am I projecting that onto my partner? Now, of course, in relationships, we're not going to like 100% of everything, but we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's important to focus on what we love. Now, if you remember the laws of attraction, like I mentioned before, if we're focusing on what we love about our partner and we look towards that 80%, that big picture of what they are in our lives, we're going to get so much more of that 80% than the 20% that may not satisfy us in the moment. Don't forget, we play a big part of this, and we oftentimes as human beings want to protect our own egos and want to see ourselves as, I hate to say it, faultless creatures, but that's not the case. So again, I encourage you, when you look at that 20% of what you may not like, ask yourself, how am I contributing to that? Okay. So now let's talk about our regular relationships. Now, 80% is great in regular relationships. We don't tend to zone in on that 20% of what we don't like. If we don't like it, we're so awesome at just dismissing it altogether. So why can't we just kind of dismiss some of the 20% that we don't like, in the relationships that we have with our intimate partners? We can be so easy going with our friends and our family, but when it comes to our intimate partner relationships, our husband and wives, we can be such a challenge to them. Ask yourself if you're noticing that, or if you do that, and why do you do it? Sometimes in our intimate partner relationships, we tend to make molehills into mountains. But if something were to happen to us in a work environment or with our friends, we'd be like, yeah, that was kind of shady. Maybe I'll address it, maybe I won't, but I may not pick and choose this battle. And then we just dismiss it. Or we acknowledge it quickly and then move on and still be friends. But when it comes to that intimate partner, the one that we live and spend our lives with, we just kind of blow it out of proportion. So I encourage you in all relationships, focus on that 80% because the laws of attraction say it will bring it back to us. It will drown out that 20% if we're looking at all the beautiful things that our partner gives us. Now, last part of this is if you're a spiritual person, I encourage you to ask yourself, what does God see in my partner? What does God love so much about my spouse? And ask God to let you see what God sees in your partner so that you can see it too. And it'll open your eyes. I assure you, God never fails us. All right, be good, push the love forward, and I hope you had an awesome weekend.